Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Okay, so I know this is ending up kind of as a not kind of, it is turning into a three-parter. And why is it so long? Because I always try to include the domino effect, the before, the after, the cause, and the fact, because there's different things that he caused that put harm on me. There's things outside of the atmosphere, either being family or emotional health or situational, especially health, though. It's like everyone blaming me, everyone saying it was my fault, everyone saying that there's nothing wrong with me, but my body was just like, if there's nothing wrong with me, but everyone's telling me I'm walking like there is something wrong with me, but then it's my fault. Like, it was just such a like traumatizing moment in my life. But then during that trauma, because again, after my surgery, that doctor said, "Oh, you'll be walking like normal in no time." Then I wasn't. And with a guy who is like, when we started dating, he told me he didn't want anything serious at first, but then after like we had movie nights or whatever, second or third time, I remember I brought tag-alongs, Girl Scout cookies, and we were playing video games, and we watched, I think it was Wreck-It Ralph, yeah, Wreck-It Ralph, and I want to say we watched the second one too. Well, I know we watched two movies, whatever, but during the second one, I started falling asleep on his lap, and I did not mean to. I was kind of embarrassed that I did, but I remember when I opened my eyes, and he was staring right at me. I think I just started blushing. I probably looked like Elmo or one of his cousins or whatever. But yeah. And I just remember after that night he was just like, "You can come over whenever you want. You can come over every day. I enjoy your company." And so that's kind of when it happened. It's like I remember when his roommate moved in, or one of his close friends from up north moved in or whatever, and he didn't know I was at the house one of the times, and he yelled over because they were both playing video games in their rooms, and they yelled across the hall, and he was like, "Hey, why does your girl walk so oddly or whatever?" And he was like, "Man, she has a disability. Leave her alone." He didn't know I was making dinner in the kitchen or whatever, so but I just kind of ignored it, brushed it off or whatever. And I just remember, I think it was like 20 or 30 minutes later, he ran downstairs to go grab milk or whatever. And oh my gosh, he jumped because he didn't know I was at the house. But I didn't let him know that I knew that he was there. But when you can finally find a guy who's not going to put you down for walking different. Some men told me that I was so dumb that I didn't know how to walk right, or I didn't know how to explain it correctly to a doctor, and that's why I'm never going to get anything done in my life, because if I can't explain my walking to a doctor, then I'm not going to be able to do anything right. And so yeah, I ended up dating this guy because there were times where I thought he did have my back, but he only had my back because he liked my chest size. And I think he liked that I worked as hard as I could. So when he needed gas money or when he needed something for his daughters, hello, yeah, I, I'm the idiot. But anyway, when I think I explained a lot in this because a lot of times people think, or some people think, things just happen, things are just coincidence, things just resolve or evolve in any or which way, when sometimes you have to dig into your life. You have to think about the past actions and past actions you refuse to partake in and stuff, because sometimes people miss out on opportunities, but then I have to realize why they missed out. And one opportunity I wish I missed out on was dating this guy, because when, like, after that second meeting and after we got to know each other, like, we hung out more and more, he would start telling me, in order to date me, you have to love my daughters, but my daughters don't have to like you. And then having to face his youngest daughter, who would literally physically traumatize me on purpose. She would, like, and she reminded me of my mother in a crazy haunting way, but she would literally go downstairs into the kitchen, look each way to make sure no one was nearby, and then she would make sure her dad was playing his video games with his earmuffs on or his headphones on. Why is earmuffs? No, headphones. And she would, like, make sure, like, his roommate or her older sister were not around, and I would be in most usually like the TV room or in the kitchen, like wherever I was. She would make sure no one else was around. And then it's like she didn't realize, like, I kind of noticed her pattern. It took a while because even when I was on the couch, she would do it, but she would come up and sometimes she would say my name incorrectly on purpose. And then all of a sudden, bam, kick me as hard as she could. And then, I hate you, and run off. But then when I tell her father that, okay, we need to figure this out, I don't know why. Like, I know why she does it, because her mother would literally tell her, speaking of Snow White, I just did a part one last week of about Snow White. Her mother used to tell her, you know that woman your dad is dating? She's like the evil queen. What? Don't ever eat her cooking, or you're gonna end up just like Snow White. Yeah, that's what she would tell her. It was to a point that either I could not cook in the kitchen, or, like, he would have to say he cooked it. She wouldn't touch it. She would scream. Or, like, later in the night, she would come up and tell me horrible things. And it's like, it was just so frustrating, because I'm like, okay, so I can't even, like, whatever. But I will never forget how he told me, I have to love his daughters, but they don't have to like me. But I think he meant that for him too. Because, like, with his parents, both of his parents, or his parents are divorced, but then both of his parents, I think either both of his parents faced divorce again. I know his mom did. And but it's like, there's three divorces all around that family, whatever. But anyway, or within his parents. But I think he lived through his daughter, and one reason why he never wanted to resolve that was, I think he liked and enjoyed that she was allowed, or she felt the freedom to tell me she hated me. I think maybe he hated some of his step parents, and so, like, the reason why he didn't punish her was because he wasn't allowed to do that. But at the same time, I feel like he felt the same way as the youngest daughter, because he didn't love me. He wanted me, like, whenever I was in trouble, he never helped me out. But whenever he needed me, he wanted me to just jump and do whatever I could immediately. When his vehicle got I was gonna say, oh no, yeah, repossessed. Yeah, his vehicle did get repossessed. And then when it broke down, and then when he had to get another car, it was just like one time. And then he would tell me to lie to my parents, to drive to his house Friday nights, so that he can get up in the morning on Saturday so he can go and work overtime. Yeah. What a man, right? What a man. And so when my mom passed, I begged him to come to the funeral. He didn't realize, but I was already thinking I need to break up with him, because leaving, like, hanging up on me when my car was overheating when my mom died of cancer, like, I hardly ever asked him for anything. Like, and even like with his daughters, or with his oldest daughter's band concerts, I went to them to support her, to show that I cared for her. But then I was a teacher in the inner city, and I would invite him to the events, diversity nights and stuff, and he blew me off and laughed. And I'm like, okay, so I go and support you with your kids and stuff like that. And I want your, like, especially diversity nights, you celebrate that you never participated with any type of African American month, or your school never taught African American history. So don't you think maybe your daughter should learn some diversity, learn about different cultures? And he laughed at me. It's like, you're dating a black woman, a woman outside your race, but you're not willing to learn anything outside of. And that reminds me about a lot of MAGA Republican. Yeah. And a majority of his family, MAGA. He says he's a Democrat. He says he's a Democrat, but yeah, a lot of evidence leans, and that's another reason why in my dating profiles I say I will not date a Republican, I will not date an orange man supporter. I will never gonna happen. I would rather be single for the rest of my life. It's like, and it's just with a lot of the things he said, he didn't realize that I knew that I need to back away from the situation. I knew that I could do better, especially when it came, like, the beginning of the relationship. He told me he didn't want any more kids, and he kept, like, at least 8 times he told me his daughters were mistakes. But then he said, if you adopt kids, that's fine. It's like, if you want to adopt them. And I was like, yeah, I don't need you. I was like, I'll be a single parent. I was like, I'm not looking for a man to adopt kids with. I was looking for a man to at least have as a partner, but it doesn't need to be a partner with my kids. But then 3 or 4 years into the relationship, my walking's getting worse and everything like that. And part of me just wonders if he felt like my walking getting worse was a power trip for him. It's because then he threatened, if you adopt, it's over. If you adopt, I'm breaking up with you. I don't want you anymore. To the point where he calls me up and tells me to come over to talk about it. But once I get into the driveway, he walks out of the house with the box of my stuff. And he said that if I decide to adopt after our conversation, he says I can just leave with all of my stuff. I'm just like, wow, so you don't want to talk about it. You're literally telling me it's your way or no way. And he kept telling me, you're too old for kids. You shouldn't have kids. You don't want kids. You don't want to make the same mistakes I did. And I'm like, each time you say that, you're saying your daughters are mistakes. But then sometimes he would literally tell me that his daughters were mistakes. Oh. And so after my surgery and after that, I was just like, no. I've been wanting to break up with him. And I will figure out money-wise and logistically how I can adopt on my own. I will do everything without him. It's like I wanted kids, but I kept letting his brainwashing get to me, and I kept getting scared of being alone. But it's just like, most of these men just want to use women. They don't love us, they love to hate us. So month after month after, yeah, it just made me think more about the relationship I had with him. And the only time he called me was when he wanted Bow Chicka Wow Wow, when he wanted money, or he needed me over, well, either to buy food or because his oldest daughter needed something, or just basically it was for a need. And then with his ex-wife, he would always brag that he bought her like a diamond piece of jewelry. And I remember around year 3 or 4, I was like, okay, so we've been together for a long time and you have never bought me any, like, even Christmas gifts. He bought me a stuffed dog. Yeah. Bought me stuffed animals. Those are my Christmas gifts. Yeah. And so, and didn't buy me anything, like maybe a can of juice or something throughout the year or something. Sometimes he would buy, like when he knew I was upset and I had it, he might try to take me out to dinner to get my mind off of it or to change my mind. But I was still going to break up with him. I was scared to do it. So but anyway, yeah, anyway, it just trying to break up with somebody who knew your weaknesses, especially when it came to your disability. Dating someone for 7 years. 7 years. So he knew the terrible relationship with my mom. He knew the trouble I had finding work. Like I told him so many times about unfair treatment or how I'm never going to be as good as my twin sister. I'm never going to be, and that's the truth. And I face that. I know this for a fact. But he used it instead of as for empathy, he used it as power. And so for 7 years, I dated this man, and he looked me right in the eye and told me, my ex wife had my 2 daughters. You will never have my child. So, diamonds go to the woman that made my child, or my children, or whatever. But then I was like, you call your children mistakes. And then you forbid me from having children. And you keep telling me if I have children, there would be nothing but mistakes. So it's like he didn't really like write that. Like I remember that night so well because I think that just crossed the T's and dotted the I's that I need to end it. I so needed to end it because if he, even with employment, even with work, even with buying a house and investing money, it's like he told me, if you buy a house, I'll buy you a puppy. Because he knows I love dogs and I love animals, but oh my gosh, I've always wanted like just a cute house dog to just go around with or whatever, take to dog parks and barkeries or whatever. But and he knew that was a goal of mine, like, and he knew I was saving for a house. I would show him, like, when I was investing and saving for the house and stuff, I would show him updates, but I was dumb. I will never do that again. But since I was with him, I think this was around year 4 or 5 when I started showing him. That's when he realized, oh, I've got like, oh, I'm gonna get her now. And he was like, okay, once you get a house, that's when I'm gonna buy you a puppy. I think he only wanted me to get the house so that he could have a house to stay in. And even because when I first started dating him, he didn't like, before that second movie night, he didn't want me over too often. Because I was like, while we were texting or on the phone and stuff, it's like he was talking about his family, and I was honest about mine. I was like, yeah, I'm not close to my parents. I don't really have a great relationship or whatever with them. And so he told me to my face, he was like, I want to make sure that you know that I am never going to be your white knight. I'm never going to save you and rescue you. But then he always wanted me to rescue him. He always wanted to play the reverse of Snow White. He wanted me to always like whisk him off to the castle. Pretty pathetic too. But yeah, but he thought that's why I dated him. But then I was like, I'm looking around his house. I'm like, you're kidding. You're kidding. You're kidding. And I was like, because not to sound stuck up or snotty, because I probably do. I don't care. Because, and that's the funny thing, because I told him that I was saving up and I was busting my tush off. And it's like, but after the second movie night and after a while, he realized I wasn't looking for anyone to rescue him, but that's when he wanted me over the house all of the time. That's when he would call me and tell me what he needed. Once he knew that I wasn't looking for anyone to rescue me, he wanted me to always rescue him. I turned into that white knight. I was the dumb one that turned into his white knight. I got his vehicle out of repo. I helped him get his new vehicle. Oh, when he first got, like, when we met and he was still going through his divorce and stuff like that, and he had to pay the divorce lawyer and rent and bills and everything. Like, he didn't have enough money for groceries, and he was so scared because that means he wouldn't be able to feed his daughters, and so that means he wouldn't be able to get them for the weekend, and he did not want to admit to his ex-wife that he wasn't able to afford it. So for his birthday, because his birthday just passed, and he was saying how he didn't really do anything for his birthday because he was going through so much stress, I went to the grocery store and filled up a grocery cart of a little over $200 worth of groceries. I got canned goods, I got bread, I got eggs, I got milk. I got even like pancake mix. I try to get as many things of different varieties so he can have breakfast, lunch, and dinners to make sure his daughters and himself would be fed. Every National Coffee Day, which is like early September, I would go to his favorite Tim Hortons until I had that no good ableist employee literally mock me. Yeah, I think I told parts of the story over a year ago. I'll tell the whole story soon because I wrote Tim Hortons I think it was the summer of last year, because I'm like, because I wrote them before and no one did or said anything, and then they had the stupidest response too. I've never been back, and I don't think I will ever go back to Tim Hortons after the way they treated me. But yeah, I met one of the most ableist, awful, terrible, cold hearted, like just despicable, stupid, idiotic human beings I have ever met in my life. So, and you know what? I've got 7 minutes, so I'll say like a sneak peek at the end of it, but I'll tell the whole story later. But I, if people decide not to listen to my episodes again, at least they'll know this much. I went in right around National Coffee Day. That's why I remember this so much. And this manager, he's seen me before and he always picked on me on why do you walk like that? You walk so funny. You walk so silly. Well, he was there that night or that day. It was, yeah, in the early afternoon, whatever, or 4 or 5 o'clock, early evening, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I was gonna get, like, I always get the donut holes and 2 large coffees. And he was at the register with another employee, and that employee she smiled and everything because it was a long line, so I waited, and then I got to the front and she started my order, and next thing I know, in front of a long line, because the line continued after, like, while I was waiting, he was like, why do you walk like this? And he comes in front of like so everyone can see, and he just starts doing this ridiculous thing, dragging it. Like, it was so embarrassing because I just remember pausing and looking horrified. And I remember the coworker looking like she looked like a ghost. She looked like she was looking at a ghost because she was just like, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say, because this is the manager. He is the manager that a Karen would normally go to. And so it's like she didn't want to lose her job. And I didn't know what to do, so I just turned around and left. And he was like, oh, you can't take it? You can't take it? Wow. So let's just say, I don't, I, I just don't think I'll ever go back to a Tim Hortons because I tried emailing them to get an apology. They could not care less. So, but yeah, almost every National Coffee Day, I went to go get him donut holes and 2 large coffees. And on purpose, I tried to make sure it took years, but I forgot his favorite candy because I would always go to the Dollar Tree and I would get like 10 or 12 of them. And I would sometimes hide them around his house or even in his sock drawer or whatever. So while he's getting ready for work, he'll find one here. And if he's going to do laundry, there's one somewhere in the laundry room or whatever. So at least, he can always have something, a sweet treat, like while he's doing his errands or whatever. And so, yeah, there were so many things that I did for him, and he didn't care. He just wanted me to be his white knight. He wanted me to save the day. He wanted me to always make him feel special. But he only tried to do something for me when he knew I had it, when he knew it was over, when he knew I was through. So July, the second week of July, when he texted me, it might have been the first, but I know, I'm pretty sure it was after the 4th of July. But I do remember he responding, and he told, like, he'd even call me. It was a text message. Do you know they're bringing back the Magic School Bus? And this is after, yeah, 3 months in a row, but 4 months in total of me not calling him whatsoever. And 3 months of no call, no text. And then even after that, I texted him like, "Are you out of your like? What are you talking? What?" I was so upset. I was so bothered, and I'm like, "You can't even call. You text me that. That's how." And then he tried to gaslight and blame me. We didn't call each other. And I was like, "No, you didn't call me. I've called you for how many years?" And then he started doing the woe is me. It's like, what are you going to love about me? A smoke filled room? And he said some other stupid garbage. And I'm like, you know what? You're just proving why I'm breaking up with you more. It's like one of the last things, okay. Because I need to finish up this series and I'll get back to this a different day connected to a different subject. But one of the last straws was the night where he told me when his youngest daughter, who always loves telling me how much she hates me, graduates high school. He said that we are going to move up north together, where his MAGA loving family lives, in Lake City, where the racism, it's so strong it stings. Ooh, it's so strong it stings. But he told me that I am going to move up there with him, and I said no, I'm not. And he was like, yes, you are. No, if you won't even help me when my car overheats, when you can't even help me, like, or especially health wise, if I'm having surgery and you refuse to call, like, what kind of man are you? You've never had my back. You've never helped me. I've always had to be your white knight. Okay? Come on now. I always have to save the day for you. You only want me because I'm saving money for a house. You only want me because I invest money and I have a great and amazing credit score. You only want me because I have everything that you want to further your future. You have nothing for me. He had nothing for me. And he was never going to have anything for me except for his leftovers. Once he realized it was over, that's when he tried to offer his laptop, his old computer to me. And he said, if I don't take it, he'll give it to his daughters. Because even that Christmas, ooh, you know what? I'll save the Christmas story for next time. But just wait. You're going to find out more why I broke up with Mr. No Heart. But thank you so much for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human, and you're human too. Don't forget to like, comment,